Wouldn't advise coming in. I'm on a show. Sorry. I'm on a thing. Oh, now my laptop's out. It's alright.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our first ever the MJR podcast. Now, today we are going to be discussing the topic of the roadmap out of lockdown. Now, this is a very hot topic at the moment, as I'm sure you're all well aware, as this is news that we've just had from the government in the past few days. So, Jack, what do you have to say regarding this?
Well, my opinion on this at the moment, Ryan, is I think it's quite laid out pretty well.
Right.
But my opinion is I think they should have opened schools a bit later in the roadmap. I know we need extra education, but it was the schools when they reopened the schools later last year. They were the ones that caused the higher rates.
I do agree. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, Leo, do you have anything to say regarding this?
Honestly, this should have happened a lot earlier in the campaign against the virus. They should have simply locked us down completely instead of just putting these useless regulations in, like the Rule of Six, for example.
Yeah, the Rule of Six. I really don't get it because the virus doesn't know whether there's 6, there's 5, there's 10. It doesn't know. It's not just going to say there's a group of 6, so we're not going to get them.
Exactly.
It just doesn't make sense.
The only time we should be able to go out is shopping for essentials, going for the exercise.
Which is what it was meant to be for most people, but then you've obviously got them who go and break the rules.
I'm not saying that it's only youths that break the rules, but majority of youths are tending to break the rules a little bit. Fair play. I mean, fair enough, like. But obviously there are adults meeting up as well. In like parks and stuff, and obviously that's not really going to help us like fight this virus. Really, I don't really see why that has happened.
Yeah, I do agree. What do you think in regards to Boris's announcement? What he said on the was it yesterday or the day before? Do you think what he said was right, or do you think he should have said it different?
Well, my opinion on that,
yeah, go on.
I can't talk at the moment, guys. Sorry about this. Well, my opinion, I think he could have made it a lot more clearer instead of explaining such a bit. It's like, if that was like me or Ryan, we could have made it in easier details for like people to understand. But he made it so complex that it confused people. Yeah. It's like the amount of Facebook posts I saw.
I know. Surprisingly, I didn't post. Very unusual for me.
That's surprising.
For once.
But yeah, I just think he's not done it right because, as you said, Jack, it was the schools that caused the problem in the first place. And if he's now going to go back and open them back up, I just think we're going to get the exact same problem again. I really can't see it being any different.
Like, the virus doesn't know if there's a school. It's not just going to say, "Oh, right, I'm staying away from the school." It's not just going to say, "I'm moving away from the school." Like, the virus doesn't know between a massive group of pupils and maybe just a little group of 2 people.
Yeah, I agree. Right. So, let's have a look at the steps that he's laid out, or the roadmap. So you can see here, step 1, on the 8th of March, is to reopen the schools and allow outdoor after-school sports. Now, I agree on this with one sense, because I think it's good he's allowing the sports. although it is outdoor, it does mean you've got less chance of catching the virus, but it doesn't mean you won't catch it. And as I'm sure you know yourself from being in school, kids aren't going to social distance.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't work. So yes, it does make sense why he's doing it. It's trying to keep kids healthy and that, but at the same time,
it's not really essential. I don't see after school sport as essential.
I don't see it as essential, especially when the kids could go home.
Yeah.
Maybe for primary schools it makes sense, but for secondary schools definitely not, because at that age they can really like be going out on walks themselves and things like that to keep healthy, rather than going to have to participate in extra school activities.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other bit about care home residents allowed one regular visitor. It's good why he's done it, because obviously they're feeling the most lonely at this time.
Yep.
However, it is dangerous, and those in care homes are probably going to be some of those who are most likely to catch the virus.
Well,
So,
it's more than likely. In the like pictures and videos of care homes I've seen, all the people are sat together, and if they visit them like that, it's even worse for the other people.
I do definitely think the visitors should social distance. However, the people in the care home are alright because they're with like each other every day. So
I mean the visitor.
they're just like one support bubble, aren't they, really?
Yeah.
You know, the visitor, to be able to like get access to the care home, should at least have to do the routine COVID tests 30 minutes before they are able to go in.
I'm not sure, but I think he did say on his briefing over the weekend that if they were to visit, they'd have to wear all PPE equipment, such as like gloves, face masks.
Yeah.
Which is necessary because otherwise it's just not going to work, really.
Mm-hmm.
Like, go on.
What?
You gonna say something?
No, I'm just saying.
Okay.
Moving on to the next step for the 29th March.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, this is something we've already touched on once in the podcast, and it's about the 6 people and the 2 households. So,
Right, this is not doing anything. This is not going to do anything. 6 people, 2 people. COVID doesn't know. COVID just does not know.
Fair
Having
enough.
6 people.
If there's more people, yes, there's more chance. But I think if you're all socially distanced, it's going to be no different effect from having 6 people. And
Say
even having 6 people, I think you should be socially distanced anyway.
Say that there's 6 households, 6 people, 3 people live in each household. That's so many people already possibly infected right now. One of them catches COVID out and about. Boom. It spreads to all 6 people, to their family. Just honestly, there shouldn't be a rule of 6 until probably the 17th of May to 21st of June, I would say.
Yeah. My opinion, quite a lot of people are have best friends. Well, most of us do, and their families get really close to go and see each other a lot. But if they're gonna do that when a rule of 6 or 2 households comes in, that they should make a bubble and meet up more often. So then, it's more of a bubble then, and they're all a support bubble. You know what I mean?
Just stick with the one group. I would say don't go changing from one household to another.
Exactly,
the next
Yeah.
weekend.
Just like that.
Right. So the next point: outdoor sports facilities open and organised sport allowed. What do you think regarding that? Do you have any opinions on that or anything?
Sorry, what was the question?
So outdoor sports facilities open and organised sports allowed. What do you think regarding that?
Well, I suppose for organised sport, if it was my decision to do, I'd probably rugby. I'd probably make it no
That,
contact
that's just a
rugby,
big no-no.
because rugby is a big contact game, and like
Yeah.
rucks and stuff, I'd say that's a no-no. Football's not too bad because you really the only time you get close is like to tackle the ball and stuff. You don't football.
But then I don't know much about football, so correct me if I'm wrong here. But then you have them who stand on the side of the field and throw the ball back in. If say you usually have one in each corner, don't you?
I don't know much about football. We're
I
better
don't
ask
know.
Leo.
But what I'm saying is, if there's
talking about
one
them.
in each corner, and each of them are going to be touching the ball, then they could just be spreading the virus that way.
Yeah.
But I do believe they sanitise the ball as much as they can. It's like half time they sanitise it.
So
hmm
the next one, travel outside local area. What do you think regarding that?
That just shouldn't be allowed. Should not be allowed whatsoever. If you go and see family members, no. If you're going for walks, no way. It should not be allowed for any reason whatsoever.
In my opinion, travel outside your local area. Depends on what you're doing. So like, if you're going like a walk in like a forest, I'd say that's all right. But like stuff like I don't know, seeing your best friend you haven't seen in months.
That's
Like a long distance friendship, it's not really a good idea because you don't see each other enough, and you never know. You never know if you've got COVID or not. So if they've got COVID and you don't know, you're infecting your whole family and yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And regarding that as well, I do think it is a good idea because, as I'm sure you know, Leo, there's not that many places where you can really go walking around here.
Oh.
So it would be nice to go somewhere where you could do some proper walking, such as like
It would be
down
nice.
near
Like,
forest.
yeah.
But if it's not safe to do so, I still wouldn't do it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because as you're saying, there aren't many walking spots around where we are based at the minute. So yeah, but like traveling out to a walking spot, that's no excuse. You have to stay in your hometown. Do not travel out of your town, I would say, unless it's for one of the essential reasons that I listed before. So just for your essential reasons. So like your shopping trips. But I wouldn't say go walking outside of your local area, as that's just it's kind of just passing the virus wherever you go, and you're more likely to get the virus if you go to another town where rates are a lot higher, I would say.
As we've heard about in the last few weeks as well, there's been new variants discovered all over the place. So if you end up going to a town where there is a new variant but it's not yet been discovered, you could then end up catching that and not even know about it.
Like an example of like people. It's about going outside really for what this point is. Like my local park, I've been meeting one of my mates up there just once not really too much. But the amount of people you see on the park is absolutely horrific. Like today, I went down there for I don't know how long, but there was it's about 3 o'clock. There's about 20 people at there, like loads of people. It's quite a small compact park, but there's loads of people there, and no social distancing, no nothing.
Yeah. Some people just don't follow the rules, basically. I mean, fair enough. You've probably heard me say, I think there's been a hell of a lot of pointless rules throughout this pandemic. However, there is also quite a lot that's made sense. Now, the ones that make sense, I agree with following, but the ones that just don't make any sense whatsoever, there's just no point. Anyway, moving on to the next spot. Now, I see a point in this, and I'm pretty certain Jack sees the same point I do. But non-essential retail and personal care open. So, Leo, we'll start with you because I think me and Jack have the same kind of idea with this one.
Yeah. So non-essential retail, like I wouldn't say I would say open this around the 21st of June. This should be, because it's non-essential, this should be the last thing. So your JD Sports shops, stuff like that, you're going to want to
Mhm.
open them more towards the end. And personal care, I would definitely say is a priority. But if you're talking about like a barbers or something, that's
Well, Boris clearly
obviously
needs that, as we can see.
yeah, that's obviously a really close contact thing. Like, so
Yeah,
they're going to be
yeah,
moving your head
definitely.
around and stuff. Yeah.
Right, so my view on it is, me. For those of you who are watching who don't know, me and Jack are both DJs for this radio station, and we are mobile DJs as well. Now, because we've been on lockdown twice, and it's been nearly a year, it's been about a year and a half now, our equipment is kind of getting outdated, and it's about time we upgrade. So the non-essential retail is kind of necessary for us, because we need to go looking at new equipment for when, as you can see on the 21st of June, when Boris is hoping to lift all legal limits, so that we can start getting back into our DJing discos and what have you. What do you think regarding that, Jeff?
Well, my opinion was I was talking about the outdoor hospitality. Like a lot of the pubs in my area have quite large beer gardens, and I don't know. I haven't really watched. I haven't really watched in the last few days. Been quite busy, but I don't know if it's allowed. But last lockdown, I believe there was outdoor entertainment allowed on certain sizes of like beer gardens and stuff. And if that is possible, that'd be great for us, like DJs, singers, more likely singers, because singers. Well, I don't know what to say about DJs. On are just like play music, like the bar can play that, but for like DJing, like if you do karaoke's and stuff, that's when it starts getting like.
Yeah.
Ryan knows what I mean. I can't explain it.
Yeah, and obviously around that time of year, well, I think around this time of year, I should know this, but I don't for some reason. But I think around this time of year is the kind of time Glastonbury and that kind of thing starts happening.
It's been cancelled this year, I think. Again.
Has it?
Again.
I think the Reminisce Festival is still going ahead in St Helens, actually. I think they've already announced that's going ahead this year.
One in me. Go on.
These kind of festivals and that is something we would like to start seeing happening again. Because it's just a nice thing to do, isn't it, really? But obviously, with festivals, the amount of people you get there, it's going to be like really hard to have everybody social distancing. And even if that is possible, most people probably aren't going to follow the rules anyway.
Well, it's like, for an example, Leo said the Reminisce Festival may be going on in St Helens, so you probably already have to book tickets and have wristbands and stuff, but that this year will probably be reduced and limited spaces only, because like I've seen before, in nightclubs they had like designated areas and stuff, so they'll probably do that like outside to make it. It's like if you go in your own bubble with a few mates who are in your bubble, then you're fine, you can have your own space, but I don't know how that works at stuff like that. But
how do you actually see them like social distancing, like in the large festival tents and stuff, like, you know, near the stage and stuff? How do you like see the social distancing actually going like that?
it's like, unless Ryan wants to explain, you're.
Well, you could social distance.
That's
as long as you limit the amount of people allowed in the festival. However, the likelihood of people wanting to social distance probably isn't going to.
It's not practical at all. It's just not practical.
Not really. Because I don't know anybody who's going to want to go to a festival and stand 2 meters apart from absolutely everybody.
Preferably, it'll be better I know festival tents are like a thing, like really popular, but there's nothing there's nothing different about it. If you're outside, it's safer outside, and outside, being from our point of view, we'd probably take more sound. So it's a win-win, really. But I'd say more than likely it'll be outside of a tent this year, so it can have more people.
Yeah. So, regarding the indoor leisure, such as gyms and swimming pools, what do you think regarding that?
Swimming, I don't. Oh, Leo's gone. But in swimming, I've done swimming at school, but if you're gonna do swimming, they should I'd say close every other day for a bit of a good clean of the pool, if you know what I mean. Because at school, if you do swimming and you have a swimming pool at school, we have to do it in bubbles, and we have to have the pool cleaned every other day.
Yeah, but if you think about it, there's going to be so many different families, people, all getting in the pool all day. Even just one day open is going to be too much.
So if
you think about it, in an hour, you could have up to 8 families in the pool.
More than that.
Yeah, even more than that at times. Which is just gonna... I don't think swimming is a good idea at all at this time.
No, stuff like gyms and stuff, then yeah.
Yeah, Cameron made a fair point in the chat earlier about you can wipe the equipment down. Yes, you can, but obviously people could forget to do that. People may not want to be doing that, but obviously it's the only way possible if we're going to start opening things like that. Right, so then, self-contained holiday accommodation.
Well, I've seen on Facebook loads of people hiring out caravans, and every week, the same day, people are arriving after you've left. That's okay, but just hope someone cleans. It's if I was to book that now, I'd personally ask if it would be cleaned before I get there, because loads of them are really fully booked, especially Unity in Breen. That's fully booked. Really,
yeah,
loads of people struggle.
I see what you're saying though. Anyway, step 3, 17th of May. So, outdoor, most social contact rules lifted. 6 people or 2 households can meet indoors. Indoor hospitality and hotels open.
Hotels not too bad because no one else stays in a room all day. Outdoors most social contact rules. That's quite good, to be honest. 6 people or 2 indoors. Preferably 2 households, not too big. So if they this is coming from me, they've probably already done this, but have certain numbers of people from a household instead of just having 2 households, because some people massive families in one house. So
by that time, I think it all depends on what the cases are looking like, how much the vaccine is happening. To be honest, I really don't think he should have made a roadmap as such. Although these dates are available to change if anything changes within the way everything is working with the COVID at the moment. I still don't think he should have made a roadmap as such. I think he should have more left it just review it every couple of weeks as he was doing, and then see if he's able to open things up gradually rather than just making a roadmap. You know what I mean?
So I get off this subject a tiny bit now, but with Boris and stuff, I've seen a lot of posts of people saying nasty things about. But if you think about his point of view, people might have seen on my Facebook a post I shared about him yesterday. it's not quite nice to say stuff about him. He's trying his best. It's like one of the biggest things since when Churchill was Prime Minister. And, well, yeah. I'm just going to be quiet. I'm going to let Ryan take over.
Into this, but I've got some very strong opinions on Boris, as I'm sure you're well aware.
I know.
I think he's an idiot.
Of course.
Complete and utter idiot. Honestly, I don't think he knows his left from his right. Everything he's doing, it just doesn't make sense.
He does make some stupid,
Like,
yeah.
8th of March, reopening schools. I don't think we're anywhere near that point, because if you've listened, every time he's come on TV, I mean, I think 2 weeks before he made this announcement over the weekend, he was on TV 2 weeks beforehand. And I think he said, although the vaccine rollout's going well, it's not going well enough for us to start opening things up, so we do need you to all continue staying at home and following the rules.
Thank
2
you.
weeks later, no, it's all right, we can open everything up now. The vaccine can't change, and the COVID can't change in 2 weeks that drastically. It's just not possible.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Anyway, shall we get back to the road plan? Map.
Yeah. So, the final thing that he's hoping to do is 21st of June. All legal limits on social contact removed, and hope to reopen final closed sectors of the economy. So,
Go on.
now, before we start discussing that further, do you think the vaccine and the COVID cases will be okay at that time for us to start doing things like that?
Well, since the vaccine's been in the UK fully, they have got through most ages and stuff quite quickly.
Yeah, we are going well with the vaccine.
Which
brings me on to another point.
But if we haven't got most of the UK vaccine by then, but it isn't guaranteed that this is gonna stay like this. But if it does, it still won't be safe at all for you to go. So like this is a good thing for me and Ryan because we can get our gigs back up and stuff.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna be safe if we go in.
Yeah, definitely.
But a good idea is maybe having I don't know if it's possible, but having like if they can do it soon enough and have like COVID tests at like fast results. And they should have them on like the door.
The room is usually like quite hot. You've got hot equipment. People are hot, dancing. So you're not really gonna be want to wear a mask and gloves and everything because it's just gonna feel too much in such a hot room.
It's like if they keep the pubs like they were before lockdown, when they open them back up with all the no standing up or standing at the bar, we'll get the cases down quite rapidly. But the schools is not going to be helping. I still disagree fully with him opening the schools.
So do I. Because as I say, you know yourself, kids do not social distance. It just doesn't happen.
Well, there's too many kids there to be able to social distance.
And some of you know my school who may be watching, but I'm not going to name them because I just don't think it's necessary. But
not at all.
In my school, you did before they shut them back down. You heard the teachers saying, I shouldn't really be coming up the middle to show you this, but I need to show you. So they come up the middle of the class and they're about a centimetre away from me. So it's just,
Leo is back.
They prefer to make sure we get the education rather than keep us safe, which I understand. However, as I saw at the start of the pandemic, some head teacher wrote into the news and was saying, I would prefer your kid sit an extra year rather than die from COVID.
Exactly.
Which I think, really,
it's a great idea.
It is a good idea.
Sorry about the connection. Sorry about that.
No worries. But as I was saying, regarding the getting most of the country vaccinated, I have a very strong opinion there. So, I don't know if you've listened to the announcements, but you should have heard Matt Hancock on the announcements.
Oh God, don't get me started on him.
I liked him originally. I didn't have a problem with him until the other week. I was listening to the radio and the news come on, and he was speaking on the news, and it was on about we've got about 50,000 more vaccinated than France. Why is he comparing other countries?
It's not a competition.
That's what he's trying to.
We should all be united together to get through this together.
Exactly. We should just try and get through it rather than turning it into a competition.
As soon as this COVID has gone, the sooner we can get back to normal and get on with our lives.
Exactly. He seems to be trying to turn it into a competition. It's just a game of politics.
It's like if we'd have gone into the first lockdown as quickly as we've gone into the other lockdowns, then we won't be as bad as we are right now.
No, I think he held off too long on the first lockdown anyway.
Yeah.
And Brexit played a big part in this because usually, for those of you who don't know, usually the government put money aside to just be there, if anything like this happens, such as a pandemic. However, obviously that money's not been there because of Brexit. We've had to be spending on that Brexit. So when COVID has come around, it's come at one of the worst times possible because we've just not had the funds there to,
It's been especially of small businesses. So when, where is this? Step 2, the 12th of April. It's going to be quite hard for small businesses such as for an example, I work in the butchers, and the rates, the price of the meat has gone sky high.
It's outrageous.
Yeah, due to
That's why I don't buy from butchers much.
No, not when we sell it. To get the meat actually to the butchers, the prices have gone sky high.
Well, yeah, but obviously you're going to have to be selling it at a reasonable price as well, otherwise you're not going to be making any profit on it.
Suppose so, yeah.
I just think the main point I disagree with is the schools. I could understand maybe in another month or two, but at the moment, I really do think he's got no chance. I think if we do this within another month, maybe as long as it was the first time the schools went back, I think we'll all be back at home. I think it'll be the exact same result as last time.
If these COVID tests go good in school, and we keep all the people with COVID out of the school, and as long as all the people in school have had negative tests, we should be alright going back to school. But if they have, I've seen one article when the vaccine first came out. I mean, there was some faulty test results, and it wasn't good because if we have faulty test results and they let them into the school with COVID, it's just going to rise the cases even more.
Yeah.
And I mean, at the start, when the schools first went back, there were many kids in my school that got sent home with COVID. Which is one reason I'm really surprised I've not got it, but somehow I've not.
In my school, it was mostly the older years that got it.
Yeah, but obviously.
Year 7.
The older years.
Year 7 had one set go, but that was because of a teacher. A teacher got it in year 8 too. So one set went home from year 8, so 2 sets. But this was teachers, so they're more vulnerable.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, that's another point I'd like to raise. They're always saying adults are more vulnerable, but the cases only skyrocketed when the kids went back to school. So doesn't that just disprove that point entirely?
Does really?
Yeah, I just think he's good what he's trying to do. I understand why he's trying to do it, because around June is what most people will class as the start of summer, which is obviously when you'd want to be doing things such as festivals, outdoor with friends, all that kind of stuff. But I just think he's trying. Obviously, these dates are subject to change, but
Taking it too fast.
yeah, obviously they can change. But I think what he's doing is what he's done throughout this entire pandemic, making promises that just aren't possible.
Totally agree with you there.
hmm He's done the same thing throughout the entire pandemic. And Theresa May, before Boris, I didn't like her much, but honestly, I think she would have done better with this pandemic than Boris has.
She is quite organised, but
Yeah,
it's like, but I just don't know how to.
I don't know if you've noticed as well, but when he's in Parliament and he comes on the TV and things like that, when people ask him questions, the ones he can answer, he seems to drag out a bit longer to make it seem as though he's answering them all, so he can swerve away from some of them that he just doesn't have an answer to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is understandable, but I think he should be more truthful about it than trying to
Yeah. Know what I mean. Alright, one sec.
Because you do notice that happening quite often. Yeah. I just think he's taking everything too fast.
Yeah, really. Ideally, you could have done with, like, opening schools. I'd have said maybe.
I would say.
I don't know about
March at earliest.
I don't know about step 1, but step 2, all right. But maybe step 3, 17th of May would be quite a while. But another reason why you might be opening schools, like mental health rates on online lessons are rising because of the stress. It is really stressful getting onto these online lessons. Sometimes you miss work because the lesson didn't work, all sorts. But at school, you have no option. You have to do the lessons. Sometimes you oversleep, but normal school, you can just go and you get on with life. It's like
I completely agree. These online lessons and online learning just doesn't work for some people. However, myself, I really like it. I actually find my stress is lower working from home, but obviously, for some people, it's the complete opposite.
yeah. It's like
And that's the problem. I really think what would have been best is for those kids who are finding it hard working from home. I think, yeah, fair enough, give them the option to go back to school if they would like. But those who are doing well from home, and obviously the school have evidence of what work we're doing and all that kind of thing. I think those who are doing well from home should be allowed to continue on from home if that's what they want to do.
yeah. Another thing is the teachers. The stress is rising also because some of the teachers do prepare. I don't know if this is the same with your teachers, but one or two of my teachers say if you don't do all of your work, you'll get detentions when you come back to school. But I don't think that's completely fair on the students because the servers aren't completely fully running because of internet. So many people are using the internet in the world at the moment. It's really, really, really hard to get a good connection on your lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And it just gets worse and worse, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Now, this is kind of like going off the point of it. But I really do think this is good in one sense because the environment just seems to be in a much better condition than it was before this started. Because there's just less people going out, less cars being used. It just seems to be better, you know what I mean? Like, many people are saying about the snow that we've had recently. Some people are classing it as a coincidence, but I don't really see it as that myself. I think part of the reason we've got the snow is because that would be nature's natural course if the environment wasn't so damaged. At this time of year, this is the time we should be getting snow. And some people are just saying it's a coincidence, but myself, I think it's partially because the environment is improving with less of us using cars, less pollution, all that kind of thing. Yeah, it's aside from the point, but I just thought so.
Last year when we had that massive heat wave at the start of the of the lockdown, I did see an article about the sea going really clean, and it was like some of Britain, the sea is really really dirty, and you can't see to the bottom. But in these pictures, quite a lot of the sea across the UK, mainly Cornwall and West Coast, I believe, over in Wales, the sea was getting really tropical. Well, that was their phrase. But it really, us being in lockdown improved the world quite a bit. But letting us out so early from the lockdown, it just went back to normal again. But if we'd have had a more stricter lockdown now, like we did last year, it would, I don't know. But the snow was to do with global warming. That's my opinion.
That's my opinion as well.
Because
obviously some people just view it as a coincidence.
I don't reckon. There's predictions that we might have the heat wave again, but in my opinion, I think that snow was the change of weather for this year, and we'll just have a nice summer instead. And that's my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's aside from the point. I just thought mention it. Now I just saw a comment Cameron's put in the chat. If we had Jeremy Corbyn, it would have been tanks rolling down the streets. That's a good idea, actually. Because I don't know if you've heard, but Boris has threatened many times about getting the army deployed, police deployed, if people aren't following the rules. You know, like patrolling the streets and that. But it's all just been talk. He's never actually put any of it into action. And I think that's part of the problem. I think if he did, people would be threatened by it and therefore would be more likely to stay at home. Which would probably mean that this roadmap he's laid out would probably be able to use the dates that he set. But I think he's going to have to delay everything.
Yeah.
Delaying schools, because it's the first step, I can't see it happening. But after maybe like a month or so, I think we're going to be going back home, back in lockdown, back to square one again, basically.
It all depends on how the cases go over the next few weeks. If they see the cases are rising with young people, then I feel like they definitely shouldn't have opened school on the 8th. They should have waited until either the 29th or the 12th of April.
Yeah, definitely. I would have said 12th of April.
Yeah, or staggered starts in all year groups. So
yeah, well, I'm not sure, but I think Wales was on about something similar to that. To be honest, I'm surprised we haven't followed suit because we're kind of just copying Wales, to be honest. Everything Wales are doing, we're doing, to be honest. But I do know Wales are doing something similar to that. Let me just see if I can find out about that. Here we are. So Wales are saying reopening all schools at the same time isn't safe, which I completely agree with. I don't think Boris is realising that though. So, yeah. Now, if you read here, what England... you can't see this actually, but if I just move to my other screen, just zoom in a bit here. So, let me just find where it was. Here we go. So, what England have chosen to do is they've chosen to move away from the advice of having a more phased approach to school reopening, but to have a big bang reopening on the 8th of March. That's where it's going to go wrong, I think.
Yeah, definitely. should have introduced it few year group, well, 1 year group at a time, 1 year group every week, I would honestly say. But just throwing them all straight back in, that's just the
Because
problem. Is just
I
gonna
know during the first lockdown, around June type of time, and I absolutely hated it because I was boiling. But
yeah,
around June type of time, around the first lockdown, I don't know what you's experienced, but I know in my school, I think they did. They definitely let my year back in for a few days. I think they did 1 day for my year, and this only went on for 2 weeks before they stopped it. But I think we did a Tuesday, each of them 2 weeks, and each of the other years did a day. And I think that's what we did, which was quite a good idea.
oh yeah,
Obviously,
yeah,
uh,
something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I really do think it's not going to work out for us just going Big Bang,
Yeah,
8th of March.
it would have definitely been better, like doing the little private lessons like they did at the
Mhm.
just before the summer holidays. Like just
Because,
having us 2 days a week, like half class goes in one room, half class goes in the other room. Boom.
yeah, I know, like, my school isn't one of the biggest, and in my school there's about 800, and I know from being at your school in the past, Leo, there's about 1,500, is it? Something similar to that?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So with you lot, God help you. That's all I can say.
Oh
Um,
God.
Well, I think a great idea would be not to shorten. Um, my idea is to like shorten the school day, not a lot, but a bit, because the less time they have inside, the more safe they are from having a risk of getting COVID. If you understand what I mean, because um, 1 second. Inside at the moment, it is quite a big risk, especially in a set. Average as about 20 odd to about 30 people in a set, and there's 30 of you, including your teacher, in one room.
Yeah.
And the the more you can get out of the classroom and have like breaks and stuff. I used to have a break, but it was in the classroom. But the more you can get out of the classroom and have fresh air as much as you can,
Mhm.
the, in my opinion, the safer you are.
Yeah. And what was I going to say there? Completely forgot. Yeah. But with schools, no. I just don't think it's. I think it's far too early to be thinking about anything like that. And I do think it's a bit too early for Wales, as well. Although they are doing it much better than us with a phased start rather than just all at once on the 8th of March,
Mhm.
which is obviously what we're having. They've chosen to move. It says in the news report here that England has chosen to move away from the advice. So obviously we've been advised to do the same. But Bojo here,
Great guy.
yeah. Well, he's not listened again. He's just going on his own little tangents, thinking he knows everything. So it's just not gonna work. I really can't see it.
Awkward silence, eh?
Yeah.
Anyway, does this finish at 10?
We can if you want, yeah.
Well, I don't know what time we finish. Well, we've been talking for an hour.
Neither do I, to be honest, but we'll finish at 10, yeah.
We just like carry on until we've explained everything. Wait, what time even is it?
Yeah. I
Okay.
really can't see it working in regards to schools.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, well.
I mean, I remember what I was going to say now.
Go on then.
I really don't see the point with my year going back. Because I am aware, as you've said, and I noticed this in my own school as well, that it was mainly the old year, such as like year 11s, that were getting sent home with COVID more than the younger years. And not only would it help my year not being in school just because of that, I really don't see the point in it. Because our GCSEs have already been cancelled, so we're not going to get any benefit in that way. And we are doing like little assessments here and there, which is what they're going to base the grades off. Now, I understand, obviously, we could cheat at home and whatever. So, having us go in school just to complete the assessments, fair enough. But I don't see the point in us being in school all the time, because revision and everything can be done from home.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, when you're revising, I think it's better to be on your own anyway, because you can just concentrate more.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree a little bit there, actually. I believe it is better revising as part of a group, because you get a lot more inspiration. You're able to work together on your revision.
Well, I'm a bit of a loner, so
yeah. Sometimes it's a lot nicer just to be talking to your friends whilst revising, because I mean, if your friend says something and then you're studying something, that could tend to stick in your head a lot longer because you're focusing more on what your friend is saying. And then
one thing I have enjoyed about being at home as well, and I don't know if you two feel the same, but in class you're often not allowed to like listen music while you're doing your work. Every now and again you are.
That's massive.
At home, I have constantly been listening music while I'm doing my work, and my grades have improved significantly, and I think it's partially because of that. I think it helps me concentrate, it gives me a clearer mind, and I'm just able to focus more.
Let me guess, have you been listening to some Ryan Schofield classics? Let me guess. What you can all...
No.
I like sausage rolls.
I've listened maybe one or two here and there. But mostly, it's just been like
He's trying to get TikTok famous now.
A podcast, to be honest. I've
go
found
get
a podcast I really like, which is...
Go follow that TikTok. Go follow that TikTok.